I don't know if you've ever had this dilemma before. Have you ever had a placenta that you don't know what to do with? Yes, it's a very common dilemma, but don't worry. A woman had an interesting idea. She decided to bake her placenta into a lasagna, which I thought was an interesting choice. I wondered how she came upon that decision. Was she sitting there with a plate of lasagna thinking, you know, this is good, but I think it could be better. It needs an extra kick. It needs an extra something. I don't know. And then she looked at her plate of placenta and she was like, what should I do with this placenta? Should I throw it away? Should I bury it? I know, 2 birds, 1 stone, and she just combined the 2. I thought that was, I wondered why she thought that was appetizing too, Because like, if I went over to a house and I was like, hey, what are we having for dinner? And they were like, oh, lasagna. And I said, what's in the lasagna? And they said, oh, ragu, 3 different types of cheeses, noodles, and a placenta. I would be like, oh, I'll have water. That doesn't sound very appetizing to me. But knowing that family, it would probably be the water that broke right before they had the child. Speaking of childbirth, did you know that in Vermont it's illegal to laugh underwater? It's illegal to laugh and whistle underwater. Which, I find that to be interesting, that's illegal. I mean, if you think about it, that's illegal. You could get arrested for that. You could be put in prison for that. That's astounding. Can you imagine being in the holding cell, talking to the guy next to you? Hey, what did you do? I murdered 4 people. What did you do? Dude, I was whistling underwater. The cops were like, stop whistling. And I was like, no way. Did you know that in Tennessee, it's illegal to catch a fish with a lasso? First of all, is that even possible to catch a fish with a lasso? I mean, I've never tried before, but it seems like it would be supremely difficult to catch a fish with a lasso. Second of all, how did they come up with that law? Did they was the governor in a meeting and he's like, any new business? And there's just like one guy like, yeah, I have some new business that needs attending to. Everyone's like, what's going on? What's happening? He's like, I was at the fishing hole last week, minding my own business. I look over, there's these 2 cowboys just dipping their lassos in the water and pulling fish out one after the next, and I'm sick of it. And everyone was like, oh yeah, we should make that a law. I don't know. I like all types of music, I think, except there's just one kind of music that I can't stand, which is bagpipe music. I don't like it at all. Bagpipe music, to me, if you took a kazoo and you jammed it down the throat of like a swan or a goose, some type of bird, and then you squeezed the life out of that bird, that's the same sound you would get than with the bagpipes. I mean, if you're Scottish, that's cool, red hair and kilts, do your thing. Go eat some haggis, whatever you gotta do, that's fine. But bagpipes, I just can't stand them. One of the only songs I've ever heard on the bagpipes is Amazing Grace. And I find that to be ironic because the sound I hear is neither amazing nor graceful. The other day, my friend asked me, he goes, if you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be? And the only thing I could think of was, why would anyone want to have dinner with a dead person? Like, you're just sitting there with, like, a cadaver. Like, I would lose my appetite, and there wouldn't be any conversation. Like, that would be completely horrible. I don't know. I'm single. It's hard for me to pick up girls, because I have these great pickup lines, but then they always shoot me down, right? Like, I'll go up to a girl, and I'll be like, if I could rearrange the alphabet, I would put you and I together. Isn't that adorable, right? But then she goes, yeah, I like the alphabet the way it is, with N and O together. What am I supposed to say to that? I can't be like, me too, totally. I love spelling and letters. It's totally awesome. We should have children, honestly, because we're so alike. I was at the grocery store the other day, and this lady had a kid, and her kid was crying. And she was actually yelling at her kid to stop crying. She was like, cut it out, stop crying. Is there anything that makes you want to cry more than someone yelling at you to stop crying? Like, crying is like bleeding to me. Like, you can't just stop. Like, that's not what happens. Like, I just thought that was kind of weird. I saw this sign from Alternatives to Pregnancy, and it said, pregnant? Don't worry. Which, again, I thought was easier said than done. Like, if I was pregnant, I would be freaking out. I'd be like, how did this happen? What am I going to tell my parents, and why am I lactating? Like, I'd be freaking out. It'd be so creepy. Oh no, I thought I was pregnant once, but it turns out I was just constipated for 9 months, and the doctors were pretty angry with me, but it was a relief to finally push that thing out of me. Let me tell you. I was talking to my friend, and he said that he gets in a lot of fights with his parents. He gets in disagreements with his parents because they give him too much money. They give him too much money. He's like, I can't stand it. They always give me this money, and I actually have to tell them. I have to say, Mom, Dad, stop giving me so much money. And I was like, yeah, it must really suck to be able to afford things and buy stuff. Like, I can relate. The other day, my car was out of gas, and I didn't have any money, and I was like, how am I going to get home? And I was like laughing. It was really funny. I watched this sport on TV. It's called curling. And it's a really interesting sport. I don't really know anything about it, but from what I can tell, you have one guy, and he has a big heavy rock, and it's on ice, and he goes down, and he lets the thing slide, and he watches it, and then out of nowhere, he'll just yell, hard! And then the sweepers are down on the other end, and they'll start sweeping, and they'll respond back to him. They'll go, hard! And then he'll yell back again, hard, hard, hard! And it's just a constant yelling back and forth. What I want to do is I want to join a curling league. Not because I want to learn the scoring. I don't want to know the rules or anything. I just want to learn how to sweep stuff really good. I want to get 3 people and me. We're going to form a cohesive brooming unit, right? We're going to sweep chimneys and patios and driveways, whatever you want. And when we're sweeping, I'll yell, hard! And you'll yell, hard! And we'll just yell at each other for a really long time. Yeah, I don't know. I was talking to my friend, and he was like, you know what? I'm a really good driver. I never get in any accidents or anything. I'm a really good driver. I say, oh yeah? Do you stop at stop signs? And he said, yeah, all the time, complete stops. And I said, liar! Because nobody stops at stop signs. The only time that you stop at a stop sign is if there's like a kitten there or something. Usually you just ease on your brakes, say, STOP, stop, and then you go through it. Now, I heard an interesting rumor. Don't quote me on this rumor. But the stop signs with the white outline, those are completely optional. Those are completely optional. You don't have to stop at them. Don't quote me. You can go through them. The ones without the white outline, I'm pretty sure you have to stop for those. But the ones with the white outline, those are completely optional. Here's a fun driving game if you ever want to try one. Okay? If you're the first car in a long line of cars at a stoplight and the light turns green, wait it out a little bit. Just wait it out for like a minute. Just wait, all right? You're going to focus on the light. Now, there's going to be a lot of impatient people behind you. They're going to start honking. They're going to want you to go, but what you need to do is you need to focus on that light. Now, when the light hits yellow, you're going to hit the acceleration as fast as you can. The game's not over yet. Look in your rearview mirror and see how many people follow behind you. I've gotten as many as 3 people. It's astounding. People can be so impatient. It actually took me 2 times to get my driver's license because I had to take 2 driver's tests. It wasn't my fault, though. The guy who was testing me with me the first time, he was like a total jerk. He was like, slow down, signal earlier, check your blind spot, don't hit pedestrians. It's like you hit one pedestrian and all of a sudden the state of Colorado doesn't want you to have your license. Well, whatever. If that 6-year-old didn't want to get hit by a car, she shouldn't have been playing out in the middle of her backyard. Seriously. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, very much.